You probably know that the last decade was the decade of the first female ever. Like, it would always make headlines. It's almost like someone invented penicillin, or someone discovered fire, or the wheel, or electricity, because that's how they would announce it, you know? It's like, you would have like the first ever female superhero in a Marvel movie. Like, look how far society has progressed. It's almost like to go up on the tech tree, you need to have the first female ever. And so it actually happened at the Museum of the Louvre. As you can see here, Mrs. Buffin, 46 years old, was hired as the first female head of security by Lawrence Descartes, the museum first female director last September. However, yesterday, Mrs. Buffett, who has held position in the police and the French Ministry of Culture, faced calls for her resignation and accusations of unsuitability for the role. Marion Maréchal, MAP and granddaughter of Marie Le Pen, declared that France is the laughingstock of the world because of the ridiculous theft. They found the crown in the gutter, by the way, so at least they got that one back. She wrote on social media, the Ministry of Culture must demand the immediate resignation of the museum director and the head of security, whom she appointed as a part of a policy of feminization. It is the cost of giving up competence, endangering the cultural heritage of our nation. Ms. Le Pen, leader of the Rassemblement National Party, called the raid a wound in the soul of the country. It kind of is, and it's not because the shit was stolen, by the way. It's because of how French people reacted on Twitter. A lot of them were saying, oh, well, it's a good thing because those things were stolen anyway. Showing their massive lack of education, right? Like Napoleon's jewels weren't stolen. They were actually made by jewelers in France. And also the fact that the stuff in the French museum is actually preserved. Like, there's a lot of shit in the Middle East that was actually destroyed by radical Islam. Like, for instance, ISIS, last decade, actually destroyed some priceless Mesopotamian artifacts, if I'm not mistaken, right? And that's not the only thing. They wanted to destroy the pyramids as well back in the day, but it was too expensive to destroy them. And so you had the Europeans go over there, and some of them even died in the desert. Like, heat stroke was a thing, especially back then. And they had to not only figure out where the stuff is, but like use archaeological techniques in order to uncover them without ruining them. And then they had teams of historians translating, interpreting them, figuring out what they were. And then they brought them to Europe, places like London and France, which generated a lot of tourism to places like Egypt. And not to mention, like, it's not like they were melted down and then taken into Europe in order to enrich the monarchy. No, they were open for humanity. Like, they placed them in museums where literally anyone can visit in order to see just how impressive these cultures used to be. Like, before the Roman Empire, these people were creating culture and they were capable of making works of great art. And to have leftists now that have been indoctrinated into DEI and the academia to not only promote this type of race-based nepotism where you hire people based on the cock and pussy or the color of their skin rather than their competence, but to also cheer when these people are ineffective at doing the job that they were hired, where you can actually have a crane just parked outside of the museum and break into the middle of the daylight and steal some priceless artifacts. And I want to show you something else that's interesting. But people pointed out that before the current situation, most of the exhibits were placed into these types of displays. And they were made from reinforced glass. And if they were shaken or there was any indication that someone is trying to break into, the exhibits would fall through a trap door and be locked in a safe. And so this was scrapped. And in exchange, you now have like the modern exhibits that look like this. Just like identical, copy-cutter, minimalist bullshit. And I generally don't get why. Like, who would do something like that? This is not just impractical, it looks ugly like fuck. This one actually looked amazing. You know, like, this shit inspires awe. This one is beautiful to behold. Like, if I go to Paris and I want to see the exhibits, like, this actually would make it worthwhile the trip. Well, this one looks like I'm walking into a mall. I'm like looking at the exhibits as if I'm going into a mall. Like, who the fuck wants this? And as you can see here, the reason is to counter its elitist image. Like, again, leftist bullshit. Just absolutely leftist bullshit, like to counter its elitist image. Motherfucker, it was Napoleon. He has a fucking right of being elitist. He had the entire Europe up his ass and he gave the middle finger to the monarchies. He was the fucking emperor. If the fucking emperor cannot be elitist, and if France, the cradle of European civilization as they used to call themselves, they cannot be elitist, then who can? So in order to counter its elitist image, the museum will strive for a cultural democratization to make its treasure more accessible with improved presentation, labeling, and curating. Well, yeah, I mean, congratulations, you made the treasure extremely accessible. I guess it's a little bit too accessible, some may say. He said sometimes the former royal palace in the heart of Paris can intimidate certain demographics, and the museum needs to reassure people that its collections are also for them. Well, maybe it was a good thing that they were intimidating certain demographics, because back then there were no thefts. You know, like maybe certain demographics should be intimidated. I'm just saying. But all jokes aside though, this is one of the worst thefts that can be blamed solely on ideology. Like, the person that was named there was being cheered by the mainstream media, not because of her competence. Like, it wasn't, you know, like what she managed to accomplish before being named. It was literally the fact that she's a woman. And you can't say, well, I'm a misogynist because Le Pen, which is also a woman, agrees with me. And the second thing is, like, they actually lowered the security on these casings in order to counter the elitist image. I mean, you know, I have a feeling that whomever may have stolen this, like whomever may have stolen the Napoleon crown, is probably going to take care of it a little bit better than the French under the leftist ideology. Because not only the change of mindset, you know, like the fight against systemic inequality and blah, 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 allowed for this shit to happen, but the leftists on Twitter were cheering as well. And that's the worst thing, you know? There's no one appreciation. It's like, if we can't appreciate the things that people did in the past, what's the point in living knowing that nothing we do is going to be appreciated by our great-grandchildren? Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.